To the collector's radio and stuff. So this time, as you saw the title of this one, we're going to be talking about I guess I always get that, it's so funny, the manly 1911. It's got to be a manly 19. Yeah, 1911s are definitely my favorite semi-auto. I've always definitely had a romance with them. And so ever since I bought my first one, and I'll never forget when I was out with these guys, I said, I want to get this 1911. I think I'm going to get one. And because at the time I was shooting a Glock 17 and a Beretta 92. Or 92 FS or something. And I loved those two. Definitely just always had them, and just was shooting them a lot. And since then, of course, sold them off and everything. But I remember when I was going to get a 1911, a friend of mine that was out there with me, and he said, if you get one, let me know. So I did, and then I ended up letting him know, and he says, you know what, it's not gonna be your last one, or only one, or something like that. And boy, there is no more truth to that than that could possibly be. So all right, anyway, here, let's get to the comment reading, because that usually takes a minute here to do this. And then of course, the last time we said if you had any questions to ask, we were going to go ahead and open that up. So if you did have questions, I will answer them here, and I think there is a couple, so we'll go ahead and go through those. All right, first up on the list, there's no in particular order, it's just the way the tread or the list there reads. Okay, I got KSFWG. It says the 44 Auto Mag is the other Dirty Harry gun. That's right, and I actually heard that it didn't work very well, and for the movie they actually had a little bit of a trouble to get it to work. I'm not surprised. It's on his bucket list gun. It is a cool piece. Really, really neat. I think that even myself would have to have it, but I'm not gonna. Unfortunately, prices just price a lot of us out of the market, especially me. So it just, unless it's like a layaway or something like that, says actually the things we're going to be talking about today. I like stainless guns. I like blued guns. Hell, I like them all. Isn't that the truth? I like stainless too, but it's got to be a certain. Again, it's for me. I like the polished stuff. It really looks awesome. So, all right, question: if they remade Dirty Harry today, do you think Harry would carry a Model 29 or something else, such as a 500 Magnum? I see you enjoy a little Ballistol with your coffee. Yeah, let's say. It is Halloween, so we got in the spirit. Or it's the month of October. Okay, what do I think he would carry? Honestly, I think they would go back to the traditional Model 29. Reason why I feel like that is because the movie's going to, at least it would appeal to those of us that remember it, or those of us that either grew up with it, or whatever. A lot of the younger generation coming up now, they have no idea who Dirty Harry is. They've never even seen those movies or anything like that. Also, if you recall with James Bond, when Daniel Craig took over James Bond, they started making it, which, by the way, the last one that they did, whatever it was called, No Time to Die, I absolutely hate that movie. I think they ruined the series. I have not watched one of his Bond movies since. Just want to throw that out there. Anyway, if you actually look back to when it was right around the Pierce Brosnan days, I think it was Tomorrow Never Dies. That was the one where they replaced the Walther PPK. They replaced it with the P99. And then he had the P99 from that point forward. It was kind of like this updated thing, but there is something special about the original PPK, the gun that he would carry. And I think that's what would happen, because eventually they did go back to that. If you recall, in Quantum of Solace, they actually went back and he's carrying a PPK again. So I think they would definitely, if I was writing that script, I would have it where he had the Model 29, just because that was part of the big star. Even as Clint Eastwood was a big star, I think that's why. Also, that's why Magnum Force is my favorite one. because by the time they did Magnum Force, obviously also it was written by John Milius. John Milius is, I mean, he's responsible for so many great things. He actually understood that, and that's why Magnum Force is so badass in a sense. Because Magnum Force has got all of that, and they realized that the Model 29 was just as much of a star as Eastwood is. Yeah, so in the movie, so I think they would. I hope they would go back to the Model 29. I would feel that way. So all right, here we go. John Doe, good video, man. Picked up a nickel Model 10.7 snub nose last week for $500. That's not a bad price at all. I finally understand why K-frames have been so popular over the years. Yeah, K-frames are like the Glock 19 size of the modern handgun world, if you will. All right, Slimfire 54. Series radio talk is awesome. JW, I seen the new Colt Classic 1911 Series 70 on Gunbroker earlier this year, where a person was selling the 1911 said it wasn't a CZ gun. Are the guns worth more made by Colt before CZ took over? Thanks for all your great videos, Slim. That is so, and I think that, you know, that's like a lot of that. To me, it's like getting to not get caught up in the hoopla of things like that. I personally think CZ can only do good for Colt. CZ also, mind you, owns Dan Wesson, and they've owned Dan Wesson for quite some time. And if you look at the quality of Dan Wesson's, especially like the Valor and the Specialist and those, they're just phenomenal pieces. In fact, there was one that there's a lightweight frame one. It's a Commander variant, and I really actually like it and would like to pick one of those up. But I think that the people are capitalizing on that to try to get, I don't know. It's really, that's and I don't like it when they do things like where people are trying to scalp people or get more money out of something. Either bottom line, the Colt Classic 1911 Series 70 you're talking about was made to be a 1911 that was in the $800 price range for MSRP, which I can't believe it's peaked to where it has. I wish that they would start pumping those out to a point where they flooded the market so that more people could get a hold of them for a lot less a price, or the price that it should have been. The only thing I would consider, like if I saw one of those and it had the real roll marks instead of the etching, like I've got, which I mean, I still love the gun. I would never sell it. It's a great, it's one of my top shooters if I'm going to go shoot a 45. If I did see one that had the proper roll marks, like actual real roll marks, that CZ maybe said, hey, let's put the kibosh on this this silly etching thing and actually put roll marks, I think that would be a positive, and I would actually pick one up. But I still, on the other hand, do I still think that that gun is worth $1,000? I do. I really do. I think that you're getting a decent enough firearm for that price range. I mean, give or take, according to market value, inflation, money, cost, you know, price, wages going up, all that stuff. I think, you know, it does reflect it a little bit. So considering too, like I've had mine, I bought mine when it first came out. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think, and it wouldn't bother me if it was made by CZ or not, because to be honest with you, Colt really hasn't been Colt for a long time anyway. They've had other people owning it for a long time. They've had really a turbulent history. All right, Jerry Johnson, number 2. Yes, I would love to have a Smith & Wesson Model 29 revolver in my collection. It is a bucket list item. I do have my father's Super Red Hawk 44 Magnum. Absolutely fantastic revolver. Rest in peace to your dad. The Super Red Hawk is something that will last forever. I mean, I don't think you could shoot that thing out in your lifetime. I really don't. Danger Man. I love the Model 29-2 made in 1973 with a 6.5-inch barrel. It made my day getting it. I feel like a lucky punk. Yeah, I felt that way too. When I picked up my first one, it was definitely like, you know what, this is it. This is the true thing. Covert Arrangements, loving the radio series, brother. Thank you very much. The Scottish American, my buddy, Crazy Scotsman. Nothing else like a 29 Blue pinned in recess. Pure classic. One thing I have come across over the years is I don't know how to properly measure. A lot don't know how to properly measure the barrel length. Even some shops, which turn into conversation opportunities, pass on knowledge. I'm blessed with two 1911s. Both have a ton of meaning to me. No 9mm 1911s yet. Yeah, you know, it's funny as you pick up things over the years, and really it's just sharing them, paying them forward. I've had a lot of people that were very influential in my early days of collecting and everything. Actually, I didn't really even collect. It was just I loved the old stuff. It just happened to be collectible, and I had no idea. I actually, when I first started, I thought, no, why would this cost more than this one? This was newer. I had no idea. All right, Lion Quest Fitness. I was listening this morning while eating breakfast. My wife heard your voice and said, "Is that BATJAC doing the radio show?" Even she remembers. All right, well, that's awesome there. And shout out to your wife there, Lion Quest Fitness. And Joe P says, haha, my wife knows JW's voice too. So Joe must be... Okay, Douglas Walther, very informative channel. Love the Freddy Krueger sweater. Thanks, BATJAC. All right, thanks, Douglas, for checking us out and tuning in. Justin Booth, you could get it Cerakoted to replace the royal blue finish. Recommend using the H Series Midnight Blue, which is a high gloss armor clear coat over that. Good info. And I've actually I've heard things like that. What was it? Somebody up here down in Phoenix was doing those, and I was gonna actually send them a 1911 to do, but then they ended up shutting down. Jeffrey Richardson is up here. Joe P. I am looking at the Deadpool poster as I watch this video. I have it hanging in a reloading room. That is an awesome poster. I've always liked the Deadpool poster. Yes, and our buddy Crazy Scotsman says that is awesome. All right, Bryant Gill, last comment on there. All my guns are black or blue. I own one stainless gun and I hate it. All right. Okay, so we got the comments there done up. Okay, we'll get rid of this one. And we did have some other videos that we published out this week. Hopefully you check those out. So back to the radio here. All right. So the true 1911, right? The old school, the original Colt. And I always will love the true 1911 Colt 45. It just, there's something iconic about it. It'll never go away. And I mean, if somebody says, well, you can only have one, well, yeah, it'd have to be the 45. It would just have to be because of the love and romance between it and me, and I just love it. This is one here that I've had for many years and just absolutely love it. And chased it down for a long time. It's just a standard, other than that, it's I love the basic configuration. That kind of basic configuration, no thrills, no frills, just that plain Jane GI style 1911. That's my favorite. So this one definitely is awesome in that aspect. And even to put the, even though they're not my favorite style grips, but that would be the proper grips for this type of firearm. This period one. This is one that Colt put out. This is a World War I reproduction pistol or reintroduction gun. This one there is just your standard black oxide finished one. There is the Carbona blue one that's out there. You can check it out. I actually have a video of unboxing one of those when we actually had one that was lent to us so that we could check it out. And I do get that a lot. They always people always say, well, how many do you own? Actually, the majority of the things that we get are on loan. Other people actually lend us stuff that we can video, or I've got friends that are in the gun shop business, and they can, able to go in there, check them out, and say, hey, mind if I video this? Oh yeah, go ahead. Of course, I'm not leaving the shop with it or anything. A lot of times, I'll just set it up right there in the shop. One that's really famous that I did that with is a Model 36 with a flat latch. That was actually filmed right there in my buddy's shop, right there on his counter before he opened his shop. So I've done that. So this is mine. This is actually truly mine, and I've had it for a number of years. This one I got from a friend of mine's place back in the island, and it's stuck with me, and I've had it, and I've traveled with it all the way over here. So, and then when I leave here, it'll go somewhere else with me. So I will not get rid of this. I will not get rid of this. And yeah, I've shot it a bunch. It's loose. The slide, the frame is loose. It rattles because I've just shot it a great deal. And you know what? And that doesn't bother me as much as some people. Some people get really freaked out about that. It's it's so loose and whatever, and yet they're shooting a Glock or something, which no knock the Glock, but those things are, the loose tolerances is what makes it super reliable to begin with. Like the old school military A1s, they're considered rattle traps or whatnot. This one's a 1942 vintage, but that's just the way they go. But no, I truly do love the 1911 45. When I started buying them up and actually getting into them, that's when they were the old guys are saying you got to get one, and I did, and oh man, I tell you, that was it. And later one of the fellows that was actually, like I said, he was kind of a mentor of mine. Even back then, he was telling me, he said, you got to try it in 9mm. You got to try it in 9mm. I said, what? Are you crazy? I'm not going to. No way. That's like sacrilege, man. I'm not going to do that. I would never be caught dead with one in 9mm. Of course, what happens later, I actually end up trying one, and I said, wow, this is really, really cool. So, I originally got a Commander model in 9mm. That was originally what I got. And I had one that I had early on. I sold it to a buddy of mine. I kind of regret that. I should have kept that gun. I really should have. Maybe he'll sell it back to me. But I had ended up getting, funny story is I ended up getting a Colt Commander from a friend of mine that I ran when I was working at a gun range. He had one, and we both went to the same gun show looking for one. I didn't find one. He did. Of course, we had no idea that we were both looking for one. We didn't get together before in the meeting of the minds and say, hey, let's go and get one of these. No, that wasn't what happened. So later on, he came back. We met. He came into the range that I was working at the time. And he said, oh, yeah, I saw you at the show. I said, yeah. I said, I was there. I said, I was not successful. Were you? And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, you can't believe what I got. Opens up his bag, and he pulls out this Colt Commander in 9mm. And I said, oh, man, I went there looking for one. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I scooped it up right when I first saw it. And I said, man. So he went out. He never, he was at the range to go test it out and shoot it. I said, I told him, I said, man, if you ever sell this thing, let me know. I want to buy it. Give me first dibs. I'll buy it from you. He goes, oh, no, not a chance. I'm like, no. So a few weeks go by, and actually he goes, hey, he goes, you interested in buying that? And I said, yeah, are you serious? You're going to buy it? You're going to sell it? And he says, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'll take it. And so that, and I still got it, and it's definitely one that I definitely hung on to. I had it for a while. I didn't even shoot it. I had it for a little while, and I didn't shoot it. And when I finally did shoot it, I was like, wow, actually, this is really nice. This is really smooth, and I like it. And I think I'm going to have to hang on to this thing. And I really do feel that the perfect package, if you're going to get a 9mm 1911, the perfect package is the Commander variant. Yes, it's the Commander variant. And if you really want to go the ultimate, the best of both worlds is a lightweight frame Commander. So, all right. But anyway, back to the 1911s and 45 auto. See how we get distracted, and that's the whole point. That's how radio shows go. But anyway, one of the things that I, over the years of buying 1911s and checking them out, and of course going poor and broke, buying them up, and a lot of times I just wait for the prices to become perfect or right, and or layaway. I tell you, a lot of shops out here, I don't know where you're at, but they do layaway, or I've got friends that are willing to hold on to them for me until I can pay them and get it. And meantime, you're eating soup and just kind of starving yourself, or like I've traded a lot of things off. That's the other thing too. Like my collection is completely almost gone. I have literally traded a lot of things out. A lot of the stuff that I do regret. Some of it I wish I would have kept, but you know what? Because I wanted something new, I ended up trading a few things off. And a perfect prime example of trading a bunch of stuff off was to be able to get this, which was to me the almost the ultimate of the 1911s for me. And I didn't buy it to impress anybody. I bought it for myself because I really wanted it. And I tell you, it is, I can say that it's worth every dollar that you spend on one of these. This is the Wilson Combat Cqb. This one's just amazing. There's a lot, there's things that on it, like I normally don't like an ambi safety. Even though I am left-handed, I just shoot right-handed with 1911s. But there's such a low-profile thumb safety that it doesn't bother me at all. It's actually really nice. The muzzle is flush cut fit and everything. We actually have a video on it. These are just phenomenal. And yeah, and somebody wrote a good comment one time. I was talking about these, and somebody actually wrote, they said, the only people that actually know if they're worth it or not, people that have them. And there is truth to that, without that being so like sounding like it's kind of like ego driven or anything like that. Look at me, like, and it has nothing to do with that. It was just because all the years I've read his books, I've read all the stuff on it, and I, of course the one looking up to it, like, that I've always wanted one. And so when the shop had one brand new in the shelf, they did layaway and all that kind of stuff, and I was able to just put on layaway just to secure it so I could get it. And their price was really low. Their price was a lot low. These things have now gone up to about, like, you're in the high up there near the $4,000 mark, I believe, and this was not near that. So I was very, very lucky that the shop that had this was selling it for a really good low price. This was like I think we were talking like seriously not what that prices are that they're going now, but it's got all the bells and whistles. I got to tell you one thing on it that I really like is I'm not a fan of extended like gadgets on things, certain things. Like I'm not a fan of the extended slide release, and I'm not a fan of extended thumb safeties, but this is done right. The extension on the thumb safety on this is done right to me. You can see it's kind of low profile, doesn't protrude out or anything like that. But one thing that I do like is their magazine release. They have done a middle of the road thumb release, or magazine release, a middle of the road style one, where it's not protruding out too far and it's not recessed too far in like the original old school government ones. And I tell you, you can really, it's so easy to actuate that. This gun is so easy and soft shooting, and of course it is in 45, that you get spoiled. You really do. And I've shot this quite a bit, and definitely enjoyed it. It's got the armor tough finish on it. It is something that I cannot sell, because I wouldn't be able to sell this or trade this off, because I know that chances of me ever buying another one or anything like that would probably be just not happen. It just wouldn't. But it just, when you grip one of these things and everything, I always said that too when I was first originally buying and checking them out. I said, if I ever get a hold of one, I'd like to. I never wanted to discount it and say, because I was kind of almost, it's kind of the point where it's like, man, like $3,500 for a pistol. Like, what the heck does this thing do? Make you coffee in the morning? But when I handled it and realized that, and you got to remember what they're doing here. This thing is totally hand done. This is done. These guns are made like they would have made this gun back in the day. This old World War II Warhorse Colt right here, that, this was all hand done. The things came out, they hand, did everything. They put them together by hand and made all the parts work, and by filing it and all that. Now, a lot of things they come out of the cupcake things, and they work, and they do work. There's nothing wrong with that. But, they pop them out, they plug them together, and there you go. A couple minor strikes with the file, and put them together. Boom. Most of the polymer guns these days are like that. And, and of course, I'm a big fan of Glocks. But they are just that. They are push a couple pins together and put them together. I mean, you can, for instance, on the assembly line, you can teach somebody probably in 20 minutes to put a Glock together, and by the end of the week they're an expert. 1911s, stuff like that, any kind of firearms like that, all steel, just using 1911s as a primary example. But it might take them a while to put it all together and get the understanding what needs to be fitted and filed and all that. You cannot really necessarily, every now and then you can get away with just going online and buying parts like thumb safeties and all that and just plugging them in together. You may get lucky in that, but the chances of you having to file and fit things and putting the parts together right with this is probably a 90% chance you're going to have to. And I learned it, and I learned it by ruining parts. So, but I mean, I love the gun. I just absolutely love it. It is, certainly my choice in it, and I do love the 45. That is definitely my choice. I love that gun, and just always wanted them, and never really had the opportunity to get so many, be around so many different ones where I could pick and choose a couple here and a couple there. So of course, with that comes a lot of money, and ended up trading a lot of things off that I no longer have. But in the end, you got a couple of these, and so be it. So that's how it goes. So before I part ways with you and actually leave you with this, I'm going to leave you with something that I find in life is really different and somewhat sometimes difficult, and that is that when you get out there and you meet people and all that, and I felt like the older you get, the harder it is to become friends with anybody or trust somebody or whatnot. And you really realize that sometimes over the time, maybe when you meet somebody or you know them, and you realize that over time, like, man, maybe this person isn't just, maybe this isn't a right, not that they're a bad person or something like that. Maybe this is just not a correct fit. Maybe we just don't see our things don't line up, so, and I've actually learned that recently myself in life with a few people. And I think that, and it's like, that's when you kind of realize that you need to take a step back and you need to distance yourself. And, and it's not that, like I said, it's not that they're a bad person. It's just that you have to sometimes realize that, and a good buddy of mine and somebody is near and dear and close to me, he even said at one time, because he had befriended some people and he was doing some work and doing a bunch of stuff and helping out, and they ended up just screwing him over so bad, and it was a big fiasco. And I remember him at the end of it all. I mean, it was a long, drawn out ordeal. And I remember in the end, he told me, he says, "You know what, BATJAC, I'm done making friends. I'm just going to stick with my old ones, and that's it." And I just thought, I was like, wow, man, that really must have had a huge impact on him, because for him to say something like that. And honestly, I look back at it and I'm like, you know what? I get it. As he would say, I get it. I know what he's talking about. So anyway, not to leave you with a downer or anything, but be careful. Be careful out there when you're talking to people, or maybe perhaps becoming friends with somebody or whatnot. Be careful, because I tell you, you know what, I'm not going to change for anybody. It's just the way it is. I've changed for myself. I've changed. Maybe things have changed within me just within the last few years or whatever, but I've done it for myself, not for anybody else. But anyway, stay true to yourself, watch your back, and take care of your friends that you do have that you consider your friends.